Good night, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Hear This Now. Welcoming my fellow panelists, Jade, Krista, Aaron, Shan, and Aisha tonight. And we bring in something new to the show. Starting tonight, we begin a new series called Surviving Everyday Life. We intend to tackle the tough issues and the situations all of us face in daily life. So tonight's topics are the dangers of social media and coping with loneliness. So we want to start things off with the dangers of social media. Social media definitely isn't all bad, right? So we know there's positive things as well. Aspects like connecting with friends, family, easy access to news, resources, you get to learn things and so on. But sadly, there's a lot of dangers attached to social media as well. And those are the things that we want to discuss tonight. So we want to begin with Aaron, who will lead us off with some interesting questions.
All right, first question. Everybody hear me, right?
Yes.
First question. What y'all think is some negative effects that social media have on young people or people in general?
All right, so I have a list of negative effects, right? And earlier we could break down this list. We could discuss the things that I have in this list if we want. We'll just go with the flow, right? So the first
Yeah.
negative, the first negative effect is unrealistic expectations. Now I think that one is pretty obvious that social media sets unrealistic expectations, especially when it comes to like life
Yes.
and relationships and goals that you want to reach, etc. Those social media either makes you feel as though you're behind
Yes.
or you are part of the elite because you fit into some sort of club that they portray to have. So that's one. But before I continue the rest, I'll just like somebody else to answer because
Your
I
list
have a
that long, or your list that long.
list long.
Um. Okay, so I think I also have a list, but I think my list is kind of short. My list is just, one of them it says it stunts your. I think it stunts your growth, right? I think, in addition to setting unrealistic expectations, I think it also traps individuals in certain circles that they may not be ready for. They may not be um, primed or prepped for. So it has, like, you could join cults all on through social media. You could be exposed to different, like, violence. You could be drawn into so many things, right? And especially for young people, teenagers are very impressionable, right? Not we, when I was a teenager, when we were teenagers, that's the time for discovery, that's the time for curiosity, and the internet provides no borders for that. No borders at all. It literally is borderless, right? And so you could get yourself stuck in many terrible circles. And I guess the second thing I'd say is people tend to get self-absorbed, out of touch with reality. When you advertise yourself so much, um, you tend to nitpick on certain things about yourself, or everything in the world is now surrounded. Is all about you. You understand? So you focus on projecting this image that may not necessarily be true, and yeah, like it just listen. Social media sucks sometimes. Okay, I don't want to go on and on. I want everybody to get a chance, but those are my main two, I should say.
All right, so negative effect on youths. Well, first thing first, social media is majorly a young people's game. So, the negative effects is basically almost everybody because that is who dominate the social media platforms. But for the most part, a lot of the things we got discussed tonight will be related to the negative effects social media have on young people. And Krista already touched on a lot of the most important things where, image management is one of the cornerstone things, because social media has created a space where young people interact with each other online and through through social channels much more now, and much less
Person.
in a physical way, in person. So what you appear to be and what others appear to be becomes the cornerstone of your social media experience. So young people now have to have a new type of peer pressure, which is the peer pressure to appear a certain way and fit in and all those sorts of things. So, I think that is one of the major negative effects of social media on young people, is the mental and emotional stress that attached to trying to appear a certain way and to manage your image, which is a big deal, because when you manage your image, you become imaginary. The real you is never appear.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Another negative effect of social media is addiction. So you could be addicted to being on any app to the point where your eyes in it for the whole day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, you sometimes some people they lose the ability to interact in person with others due to this, to being on social media so much. Some people they can have a conversation with you on social media for the whole day, and then when you all meet up in real, they don't know how to interact, communicate anything with you
That's
in
so true.
real. That happened to me before, no, when I was younger.
Shadi, you want to say something? Or I could just say a little thing when it comes to what Asia said.
Go ahead now, go ahead now.
All right, so yeah, that happened to me already. I remember I was talking to this boy, right? And I was talking to him for the entire holiday, like July, August, straight through. I was talking to him. And then when I would see him in school, I was like, I hope you can come to talk to me, 'cause I don't know what to say. I'm so shy. But when you're on Facebook Messenger and thing, you say, can I say, yeah, boy, thing, boy, I like you, boy, wrong with you, thing. And then when you walk into the schoolyard, I was like, oh, it's Irana talking about it, but yeah, I was feeling like a real bep, like a real bep.
I think we figured out who he was talking about, but cool. Um, I would say social media is very dangerous because you never know who you're communicating with. Um, you could think you're talking to an adult when you're talking to a child, or vice versa, and that's usually how these predator stories come out online, and how people just get kidnapped and things, because you could
Yes,
hide
yes.
who you really are in social media, and that is a very big one.
And I think that is it, like just to put connect your what you just said and what Jade said just now too. When you're on social media, you could be anybody you want. You could be confident, you could be wherever, wherever. And then when you meet the person in real life, it's like, oh my God, I don't know what else to say. We don't talk everything out on social media, but then it's like this certain shyness. Like, would you actually like me in person? So I think that one too is a good is a well, not a good danger, but like it's definitely a danger. It takes away from connection.
One of the major one for me is something that the internet is called FOMO, or fear of missing out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, um, well, when you're younger, you just think that, hey, here's the scene. You know, you mightn't fully consider where you want to go in life yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you might see your friend doing this, and you might be seeing somebody you know doing that, and they're going all over the place, and they hear their country everywhere and all kind of thing. And here you is still trying to figure out what you trying to do with your life, right? And it does create a sort of a kind of warped view of what you're supposed to be doing now. You
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, well, with me on this social media thing, to be honest with you, I never had many things I always just said it. I can't talk on social media. I could talk from now till in real life. But you see this social media, I think I just get fed up easy. I just get fed up texting. I just get fed up calling on the phone. Sometimes I see a call. Sometimes I see a call and I done some of the stupes already. And it's not that I don't like the person. It's just that I just don't want to talk on the phone. You understand what I'm saying?
Same, brother. Same. Same.
So I have a little small thing to add to what Oli was raising there before, like the point that the experience Jade just shared and Isha and Krista touch on, and it's something that has to do with the fact that there's something I observed a long time ago about social media. That yes, you could be whoever you want to be, and what I realize is social media has created the opportunity for you to is create this pseudo safe space where you could say whatever you want to say and express yourself without, with less concern for judgment and less concern for consequences because you're feeling like you're safe from behind the screen and you're safe from behind the internet connection and you're safe inside your house, and it's create the opportunity for you to allow yourself to let conversations and let expressions and let situations develop much further than you would normally allow because you have this false sense of security attached to the fact that you're behind an internet connection, and that is what has created opportunities for predators to really take advantage of people, especially young women. As young women, they will say things, they go flirt on the next level, they go say things they would never ever ever say to somebody that they know they could actually see, but they could actually, but the reality is they could actually see these people. So after you let something develop to the point where it gone too far and now you see the person, you end up in an advanced situation that you never wanted to be in, and it's dangerous for everybody. You know what I mean? So it's dangerous to let loose on social media, but it's very easy to do.
It is.
Just
Yeah,
one more
and
thing before we move on now, people.
huh?
As Emerson, I'd say just one more thing before we move on now.
Mm,
Emerson now touch on something and make me think about some privacy, right? I think privacy for anybody who trying to get their life in order very important, right? And when it comes to social media and you being a quote unquote influencer, you ain't really have no privacy as much as you think you doesn't. Because basically everything you're doing, everybody's seen online. You understand? You mightn't reveal everything, but trust me, it has some kind of keyboard warriors who could piece certain things together by watching your background and by realizing, hey, I realize this place, she or she in this and so on so place. Well, I go use she because let me be honest. In my belief, I think that social media more dangerous for women than it is for men because of the innate value that women have. If you understand what I say, right? I don't want to go too deep into it because hit dogs go holler. So what I'm saying is, right? So they will watch people background and they could tell exactly where it is, especially people who mark in here because people have internet psychos. Well, we just
Yes.
have some fans, you go have some fans who you think ain't your fans, but it's seriously your fans. And watching every single movement. So that is all I had to say about the privacy.
Yeah,
yeah, and
definitely.
just to add a few more, social media creates poor sleeping habits. We all know why, because you tell yourself, all right, I'm staying on this for 5 minutes before I go and sleep, and it end up 2 3 hours. It could also cause mood swings where
Mm.
you seeing something and all of a sudden your mood change, whether it be the news that happening in the world today or your friend accomplishing something that you wish you could accomplish or whatever the case is. And well, damage relationships because they
Ooh.
rather spend time on social media than actually have quality time with you. And yeah, it's time wasting and it's a highlight reel. Oh, and it could also affect your eating habits
Mm-hmm.
because they always have pictures of food and stuff on Instagram and all of that, and you watching that and you feeling hungry, and you just eating. So
I was actually going to the
yeah,
opposite in terms of like you may not eat at all. You're spending so much time on social media, you forget to eat.
that too. Ooh, yeah, higher level thinking.
I want to touch on something you just said, Jade. That the issue surrounding depression and frustration after you view things on social media. To have a scripture verse, Matthew 6:23, that say, but if your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. And then it have and what I'm basically saying is whatever you take in is what will start to affect you, the way you feel, it'll affect your spirit, it'll affect your mood, it'll affect your emotions. Then it has common saying in the world, garbage in, garbage out. So what you allow, what you feed is what will come back out. You know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
also related to what Aaron was talking about earlier. Fear of missing out. That is lead towards that kind of frustration. Them feelings of frustration too. So that's just something to think about.
Yeah, you could ask a question.
I thought Aisha was going to say somehow she zoom up on the screen there. Yeah. Do you all think that social media, right, incite jealousy or does make people want to strive to do better in their own life? What do you think?
I think it does both. Because, as we just said, it's a whole highlight reel. You just seeing somebody flying to Dubai, but you don't know the disgusting things that they did in order to get there most times. You understand? You see it, this person start a business and they line down, the business shots where they line down on all the packages that that they have to deliver on the ground. Right. All you see it is the thousands of packages that they have. You understand? But you don't know what it took to get there. You understand? Or you may look at those same pictures and tell yourself, right, I have to work hard in order to get to that level. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And even with my little experience in the limelight, I realized that, okay, when I was propelled to that level, a lot of people would message me. I'm like, oh my gosh, you are my inspiration. And, I just want to be just like you and whatnot. And the closest people to me knew how that had me feeling. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, let me just dig a hole and lie down in it. Leave me alone. Stop telling me those things. You understand? And part of it was because I never wanted to sell a dream,
Mm-hmm.
but social media automatically sells a dream. You
Yes.
understand?
Mm-hmm.
And so, therefore, well, because I didn't want to sell a dream, I was very uncomfortable. But, I mean, just talking about it now, I'm still feeling a how. But yeah, social media could incite jealousy or make you push yourself.
I'm glad that you touched on those things. I just want to just add to what you're saying. Also, what it does in terms of like selling a dream, some people, I don't know what it's called, where you see others going through something and then you get those endorphins or whatever, and then you, like, whatever your dream is, you okay, so because you're living vicariously through somebody else, you get that validation from when they succeed that you forget your own dreams, and your own dreams don't get to progress, right? So it's not, it sells a dream, but it also keeps you locked in that kind of dream world where reality doesn't get to kick in because you're so consumed with the progress of this other person. You're so like invested in their progress, their journey, their this. It's almost like if it's your own, and you get stuck and trapped in that, and well, your dream just go by the wayside. But to answer Aaron's question, I don't think social media was created for that purpose. I think initially, like Emerson suggested, it was created more for connection, especially like if you want to make friends from far away, or if you want to just stay connected or maintain connections with family members who may be far away, like they moved or something. I think it was initially created for that. But human beings, we like to ruin our thing. So now is this breeding ground of jealousy, this breeding ground of wars, because sometimes you see celebrity wars and all kind of thing, Twitter wars, well, kind of thing. Like it just it. I am on the same track as Aaron when he say like social media, they just piss him off. Like it's the same for me right now. I just want to pelt my phone. If I could stay off social media for the rest of my life, I will.
Yeah, we in buying that, Krista, but we go see how that go. Um, Next show I talking before you, because you taking all my points. All right, so moving. So here's what I had to say about that, right? I agree with what you say concerning the original intention. I agree 100%. I do agree though that people spoil it necessarily. I think it's just the nature of the beast. Um, from my perspective, is like Jade says both. But for me, I would lean more towards it'll create the jealousy problem is going to be more likely to be the issue than pushing people to be their best selves. And there's the reason why. When you share in your life and you have control over what you share, very rarely you'll find somebody genuine enough and authentic enough to share the real life. If I could make if I could let you see what I want you to see, obviously I'll present the best version of myself that I could. Most people would do that. And even people who present a less than ideal version of themselves still doing it for a beneficial purpose. Like the Instagram models who just show their little blemishes and say, "Oh, look at this little spot," and like if something's so wrong with them, you know what I mean? Just to make regular women even more insecure. So even when they're doing things to present problems about themselves, it's still for their own benefit. It's not to be authentic. So the reality of the situation is when you have to listen to people or watch people and follow people that always presenting the best versions of themselves or to appear as the best versions of themselves. Even lame people does make themselves look good on social media. So you can imagine for the incredible people that you're following on social media who also presenting the best versions of themselves. That's very intimidating. So it could be is information overload for people who following them and actually want to do something with their life along the lines of the people that they look up to and they follow. So you'll feel like, boy, how to start when you're looking at some of these people whose lives seem so incredible compared to yours. You don't know where to begin, So you're stuck in this thing where you're feeling inadequate and you don't know how to begin to start where you starting from zero to reach to 100 billion, which is how these people as appear, So of course, it can incite jealousy and other feelings too that basically will lead to achieving nothing for many people.
I agree with you guys on the it's a both thing, but yes, it's actually really more jealousy. But I don't know if I want to say is jealousy because yes, people, it is easier to see negative than positive in anything. So that social media will make you feel negative first instead of looking at it as the percentage of people who look at it and say, you know what, this person did something with themselves, I want to do it too. Or look, this person want to Dubai. I never thought about Dubai. Maybe I want to go there too, and I will push myself to do that. Instead, it's more like why I can't do that too, or somebody could give me money or something that is negative instead of looking at it in a positive way. So your self worth now is like really low down because you thinking I can't do that, or why somebody can't make me do that, instead of looking at it as I could push, I could have a goal too, I could have a dream too, I could expand my mind also to do maybe what this person do, better than what they are doing. So I probably wouldn't use jealousy, but it's definitely more negative than positive.
Yeah, I will have to say it more incite people to jealousy. If it's only the few that really have their head on, who will actually use, and I just saying here, who will actually use social media, what they see to do better with their life, right? Because well, Emerson and Shan touch on some that I was going to touch on with the Instagram models and seeing certain people doing certain things, right? The reason why I say that social media are more dangerous when it comes to women, right, is because I wouldn't say that they are a little more visual on what's going on, but women love security, right? So when they see single women doing certain things, they will tell themselves, they will internalize and tell themselves, hey, I could do these things to reach where they're reaching to, right? Because you're seeing people who claim say they're going by themselves to Dubai and who claim say they're flying themselves to Bahamas and claim say they're doing this and claim say they're doing that, when that is really not the case. It have a website, right? I don't know if the website's still active, right? But this website was basically where these rich men would fly out these girls and they would do all these things to them and they would document these things on this website. I don't know if the website's still up and I'm not going and say the name on street, right? Yes, it does document everything about who going to Dubai to do what, to sleep with camel and sleep with lion and all kind of thing. Yeah, telling it's a serious thing.
I
Somebody
want to
had it.
know.
No, I'm not saying it on
I
stream
don't
because
want
I
to
don't.
know.
I'm not saying it on stream because I don't know if they will take down the stream, right? But
Okay.
there's somebody at his watch who say, "Hey, here's the scene." If all they really want to know what these Instagram models is get up to, go on so and so website and you will see exactly, because they just do these things and document what these girls do on these websites.
Aaron, we go talk
And
after the show.
the more darker the things that they did is the more like, if I went up pages, yeah, the more, so like if it's page one, you had to go down to like page 45 and them kind of thing. Where they see some real dark thing that these people just be doing. Who sleeping
Wow.
with children and all kind of dotishness.
With what?
Who sleeping with underage boys and all kind of thing. Yeah.
Nah, man. Nah, 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 nah. No.
Anyhow, I don't know why we shocked, because this place is nasty. Social media is a nasty place.
I mean, true, but like, there's a difference when you know that it's nasty, but then you realize how nasty. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Just to bring it back to one of the dangers. This could be a danger, but this could also be a plus. Social media is a huge um, marketplace, right? So it will, I don't know the word, somebody else may, it will something consumerism. It will encourage
attract.
consumerism.
Oh,
Right. Yeah, Sean, give me the word true, she mine. It will, it will encourage a lot of consumerism. No man, right now I in a I in a Instagram page and I don't know them taking all my money. So
We have two comments. We have two comments that we need to address.
all
I
right, go
think we
ahead.
addressed them.
Yeah, we addressed them in the pop up, but I don't know if Aaron wants to read them still.
No, I didn't see what it was. I just see two people.
Oh, okay. Well, Susan Hippolyte said social media can be a breeding ground for sociopaths. And Precious Aquila, oh, Krisha, sorry. She said, she's experienced that, but I don't know what exactly she was talking about.
Yeah, I don't want to believe she went Dubai.
I don't think so.
Nah,
I don't think
no.
so.
It's probably the wanting to achieve what other people achieve
Ah, okay.
as
Okay.
well.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So next question.
Sure.
All right. In your own opinion, right? Which gender you think would face more oppression or cyberbullying?
I cannot say.
Basically for their lifestyle.
I cannot say because well, I have no evidence. That's why I can't say. Right? I can't say well it's women because women are very catty towards women because men catty towards men too. So I can say I don't know. I
But
don't
that's
know
kind of
who.
why my answer is maybe both. I have seen a lot of women be catty to other women, bully them, their appearance, what they look, not what they look like, where they work, what their house look like, all kinds of stuff. I've literally seen people compare themselves to what go on. Like, I've seen it from woman to woman. I've seen it from man to man. I've seen it from man to woman, and I've seen it from woman to man. So I think it's just a breeding ground for everybody to get it. Okay, everybody getting the sauce. Everybody.
That's true.
All right, so um, I think it's both too. You know, as much as I'd like to say men just get I can't be genuine and say that, right? I don't think it's predominantly men. But I like how the question was phrased, whereas who's more likely to experience oppression or cyberbullying? Because I think that make it perfect for me to answer. I think women experience more oppression and men may experience more cyberbullying, and I'll tell you why. Men will not have to deal. Well, most of us, all are we who's not George Clooney and Brad Pitt and well, whoever is the fellas who in their 20s, them Twilight actors and them, would not have to worry about much harassment on social media. But women have to deal with that 24/7. Let me be real. From and you don't have to be a supermodel to have to deal with that problem. And in fact, I sure all four of you have dealt with that already in all your past experiences on social media. I'm sure about that. I don't even matter ask all you. But for the most part, men hush your mouth, Krista. For the most
Yes.
part, men
I
does
say
not have to deal with that. Men does not have to deal with that so much. So that's very difficult for a woman that you can't post a picture, you can't put up a live, you can't post an event, you can't do nothing without somebody jumping in your DM to try to just soak down your ears for every little thing you do. That's very annoying and difficult. And then it's become harassing, it's become offensive too because when you don't get the responses, when they don't get the responses they're looking for from you, then there's a set of thing. They're talking to you anyhow. They spamming your wall. Is all kind of nonsense here. Women have to deal with it. But men now, they don't have no mercy for we on the internet. So what we will end up in is disrespectful conversations where they go tell you all kind of thing, troll you, disrespect you, make a fool out of you. So I think both genders deal with both things, but men deal with less oppression and more cyberbullying, and women deal with more oppression and less cyberbullying.
I agree with what Emerson said 100%. I would say both have to deal with it, but the women have to deal with it more. And women also have a certain image that they have to upkeep more than men. Because you're out there and you're seeing these Instagram models and you're seeing this and that, and you want to look like them. And so it's more like, yeah, women more than the men.
For me though, I think the 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 both of them, yes, but women more deal with things. Well, according to my social media, what I do see is the online thing for women. Them just get it online serious. But I think that the men more than likely not going to have this kind of thing online is when I see you, we will deal with that. To me, that's what I think. So yes, both of them, but more the woman if it's the online thing than the men.
Man, nothing to say. So let's take all my points.
I just have a quick question. How does one be oppressed over social media? And that might be a dumb question,
No,
and it
I
probably
agree
is
with
it, but
you.
like,
Take it too serious.
I
Listen,
take it too serious.
there are people who try to troll me and cyberbully me and all kind of thing in the past. And you know what I did? Switch off my
Mm.
Wi-Fi.
Listen,
How you go and cyberbully them if they switch off the Wi-Fi? How you doing that?
listen. If let's say you in a relationship, right,
Uh,
and you have a certain look, a certain body type, whatever, but
okay.
your partner on the pages of people with the opposite body type than you,
Uh-huh.
wouldn't you feel a certain way?
I mean, I wouldn't really care. No,
No,
me personally,
Women
I
care, but
wouldn't care.
some women will be like, wow, so you really like that kind of. It's just
Oh,
Only
like,
if
no,
it's
that is what you
why
excessive.
he,
mean.
yeah, that's
Only if
why I
it's
mean, like,
excessive, like if
also why
he
he on these ladies' pages, following these ladies, and I don't even look anything close to that.
Oh, of course.
nah,
I
I
That's
thought
get
you
it.
why,
meant.
But like
I
if
thought
he
you meant.
liking, yes. And
I
if he
thought you meant
talking
it
to them,
was.
yes. Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry.
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, okay, right. I, I thought you meant he abs down and then you obese or something now. Because I thought was that you was getting at.
ah,
Oh, so you mean like he following all these big batty girls and you know
right,
you are flat back Kelly.
right.
Okay.
The joke not register.
Jade, I see what you're doing there.
I know. But anyhow,
I
so
could add a small point to that.
yeah, go ahead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Just to answer your question, Chris.
Thanks.
Um, how do one? Well, to be oppressed, it really easier than you think. To be honest, don't underestimate how much people could hate on people over the internet. People just create memes of people and post it on the wall and share it amongst their friends. Somebody could not like you just because of some interaction that take place in your DMs. And they could take a picture of you and put it next to something and create a funny visual just because they're disgusted with you. And you could be the next sh- hot trendy image. You know, you could be the next thing.
Me.
People could be you could be a laughing stock. Yeah, that is how bad it is. People just make fun of you. Your name they start to call all over the place for some simple thing. You know, you could be people could really, really be abusive over the internet, especially towards women. So anytime you play in your cousin on that status who trying to GT and you tell him the wrong thing, and that fella a little bit more savvy than the average man over the internet. Don't be surprised if you're on somebody WhatsApp status with your face next to something ridiculous. These things has happened, you know. And that's just one example, but it's go further than that too. There are websites where people just pop people who is sluts and who cheating on the woman and the man and this and that and the other. And it have a lot of people who post people who innocent too. So next thing you know, you end up on one of them sites. They take your pictures and they say, this nasty red gal take my man and this, that, and people just do them thing. And here it is, you just say the wrong thing to the wrong person and somebody ruin your reputation. Innocent. All like
Okay.
social media.
Okay. No, I just wanted to know how oppression comes into you know. But thanks. Thanks.
Yeah, I was just taking it as if somebody harassing you online in your comments or something, all you have to do is block them and move on.
But I was
But
taking
no,
it too.
Emerson make a good point
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, he did.
Well, I guess if they put you on some kind of site, the best place to put them is in the mug. Next question. Does social media create depression in youth?
It it can it can create depression in youth because well basically everything that we spoke about could cause some kind of depression, as in, all right, you're on Facebook and you're seeing all these negative news articles. You are on Twitter and you're seeing these negative things as well. Like there was a point in time where I literally had to come off of Facebook because all they're talking about is the little baby who went missing from that place.
Oh Lord.
And I was like, I don't need to see this. I don't
Mm-hmm.
need to in the like everybody talking about it. I was like, you know what? I don't need this. So if I didn't have that self control to know or that mental control to know, hey, let me come off this until this die down because I ain't about this life. I would have stayed on there and seen all those different stories and just be like, why I feeling so down? Why I feeling so sad? What going on with me? Why am I so anxious? So yeah.
I'm glad that you said talked about your own mental strength right there because that's actually part of my point. I listen, I just find social media as a tool in general, right? And I think the you wouldn't necessarily blame the gun for going off, you'll blame the shooter for shooting the gun. The gun is going to do what a gun is going to do, right? It to me, social media is simply a tool, and I think it needs, like most things in life, need individuals who are mature. And because people get onto this thing so early in life, like for me, I know that Facebook had like a time limit, I don't know, an age limit, sorry, I don't know if they still have that, but I was on that thing as soon as it came out. I didn't care about no age limit. I fake age and jump on Facebook, young, had like 4 or 5 accounts, and I wasn't, yes, Gil, yeah, I was not, obviously, at what, when Facebook come out, I was 10, I don't know, when
No, I think I
Facebook
was
yeah, I don't
10.
know how old I was. I just know I was faking age. Okay, I had, and obviously, as a young child, I'm not mature enough to handle what comes with social media, right? And whether it's news, whether it's me getting jealous over a friend, whether it's chattiness, cattiness, cyberbullying, I'm not prepared. I wasn't never prepared for that, right? And I, at the time, did not have the mental discipline to say, all right, you know what, there's a set of madness right here. Let me cut it off. Like this is a lot. Like I would literally be going through. I don't want to say depression because I feel like clinical depression and feeling sad are two different things. There's situation. One is situational and one is another thing, medical. Um,
Still
but I,
valid though.
and yeah, not disregarding it, but separating it. Um, but I went through series where I was just down all the time and I did not know why. There was no source, no nothing. And as Aisha said, I think she said earlier, it was an addiction. Social media serves as an addiction, right? I was almost addicted to social media every day, almost all day. I'm on social media. And so I don't think it's necessarily the tool. I think it definitely is a breeding ground for that. But I think it has to deal with the person utilizing it, the person going on to it, right? What is their mental state like? How strong are they to recognize, all right, I'm not feeling good. This is the cause. Stop it. I think it has more to do with the individual than the actual site.
All right. So to respond directly to the question, yes, I 100% think social media has created depression in youths who can't keep up with the trends. Um, we touch on some of these points. We touch on the spirit of the same issue in the earlier question about social media, whether it is incite jealousy or push people to be their best selves. And what it's boiled down to is, of course, you're going to feel that way because, like I was saying in that response to that earlier question, when you looking at people who live in their best life and doing a lot of things and you can't do them things, when you're seeing your friends going every boat ride, or at least it's looking like that, because the next thing to it, people just take 20 pictures at the same event and then it is drip feed to their social media, so they always have something that they never post that they could post. So you don't know when you're watching something if it's not something, if it's not something from 2 years ago that somebody reusing old material to make themselves look good, but all you seeing is, hey boy, you might be home saying, long me go out. I even smell seawater for the last 3 months. And here it is, my brethren. Look, my friends and them, they went about right last week. They're going on next one this week. Look, they're going on next one next 2 weeks. They went for dinner in this fancy place. Look, they're drinking this fancy wine. Look at that nice shoes she wearing. Watch that gold chain my brethren have. And them thing is frustrating. And you just tell yourself, boy, at what point I gonna be able to start achieving them things, start living that kind of life that I have no choice but to watch everybody else live, because at the end of the day, they're not on social media to connect with their friends. They're on social media to mind their friends' business and to give their friends something good to see in return. So when they don't have the opportunity to do what everybody else doing, which is look good, so they could feel good. When people say like, then it'll create depression because they ain't seen a way for them to achieve them things and they're watching everybody else do it.
They realize that's the person's actions, right? The people and them who do is their actions. They could choose not to do that. They could choose to use social media for a whole different thing. Social media has so many different tools and things. Different sorry, not tools.
Uses.
Uses. Thanks, Jade. It's what you choose to make it and how you choose to live your life. So that's why I say it's not necessarily social media, but thing. But go ahead, Isha.
Another way to cause depression is kids going to same school could cyberbully each other. And I rarely
Yes.
see that. in my days. And it's easy for one person to post a status for somebody else, then the whole school jump on it. And by the time you reach in school, everybody talking about it. It igniting fights and all kind of thing. So definitely, kids should definitely stay toxic children should definitely stay off social media.
I think children in general, I was on social media as a child. I was, but I went on the social media just to have like virtual pets.
But nowadays, you see kids
I had
making
virtual
money
pets
on
too.
social media.
Ah, what did you say?
I wouldn't say
Good.
all kids because nowadays children making money on social media.
And I true, eh?
Yes.
That's
I
not Jay.
true.
Virtual what?
Pets.
Pets.
Okay.
I used to have horses.
Sick man.
Why you say? Why you say okay?
I just wanted to make sure I hear right. That's all.
Ah. Anyhow, yeah. So,
I'm
anything
making.
else? Can go ahead, Krista. Sorry.
No, I thought Emerson had a question.
Yeah, I do. I know Krisha had some questions. I had some questions too, but we kind of touched on, I think, all our questions in the general discussion, except for
Mhm.
maybe this one, which is my question concerning social media is not to sound overly smart, but whether social media is an oxymoron, because it's supposed to be social. It's supposed to be something that was designed to bring people together. But instead, it appears to me, and I don't know how the rest of you feel about it, but instead of bringing people together, it appears to me that it really create a significant amount of isolation and disconnection amongst society, especially the young society. So, what is all your views on that?
I agree. I know social media was created to bring people together, as you said. But because of the fact that most of our devices that we use social media on, right? They are personal devices. Your laptop is your own, your
Mhm.
phone, your tablet, whatever it is, right? And so you could be in a huge crowd of people who want to socialize with you, but you have this thing in your hand and you in your own world because it always has something happening online. Something is
Mhm.
always somebody always going live, somebody posting a picture, somebody updating something you want to see, you want to be a part of it. And what is in your hand is more important than the people around you. And sometimes it is not even purposely that you ignoring everybody, but because it has such a draw, you will isolate yourself and just figure, well, all right, this is life now. This is I am more interested in what is going on in my hand than what all I have going on out there. You understand? And sometimes people even use social media as an escape. I know a girl who I went to university with. She spent her entire, must be the first term of year one, stuck to her tablet. And people used to be like, girl, you just talk, you just think. And she just in the corner there like a hermit on this tablet on social media. She had a whole life on social media, online boyfriend, all kind of craziness. And yeah, so the essence of social media is really a oxymoron.
I would have to agree as well. I think, in addition to what Jade said, I think sometimes it's hard for people to connect. Okay, because you have such an already established connection with with what is going on your phone, tablet, whatever, and you might be in a public space, as Jade said, with people who may want to interact, but either I don't want to say you're shy, but going starting an interaction of, oh Lord, I hope you can hear my neighbors are shouting. But starting an interaction or engaging with new people may be something that is out of your comfort zone, and because you have your comfort in your hand right there, it's like it's literally right here. You're not forced to be in certain situations. That is kind of why earlier I was talking about youth having a stunted growth, because we learn interaction. Sorry, yeah, we learn interaction by interacting with others physically. We learn how to talk and how to socialize with other persons. You could look at children as young and you see them playing with their friends and all. That's cool. Why is it that they grow up and they're just so distant from everything else? They're shy now. They're afraid to, they're not as brave as they were. It's because I think an aspect of it is because they are introduced to this thing that gives them such an endorphin rush, right? And it because you're basically you're getting served. It's kind of like any addiction. You're getting what you need, so you have no reason to, or you feel there is no reason to connect. So I think the fact that some of them just don't want to shy away from their comfort zone, from that endorphin rush, is the reason why it's an oxymoron.
Well, this is my view on the matter, right? I think it's boiled down to four things. It's boiled down to comfort, control, a sense of security, and and being out of touch with reality. So for comfort, like Krista was saying, is give you a sense of comfort that you could, you know, do the things you want to do when you want to do it. And you don't have to be forced to be in a social situation unless you want to be. And control, I guess that ties into control as well, because the good thing about control is you never have to worry about what might happen in interaction, because when you're on social media, you control what people hear, what people see, what views people have of you. At least you could contribute towards that. But when you're in a real life social situation, you can't control what somebody go think or the way you look, how somebody go respond to the things you say. You can't control what you put out there. What you're putting out there is 100% authentic you. You have no control in that situation, and people who does frequent social media, they would be uncomfortable in them situations where they have no power at all to control the other people around them. And then, well, that ties into the sense of security too, because you lose that sense of security that you could sit behind your desk on your phone or on your bed and do what you want to do when it's convenient to you. Instead, you're now forced to interact in a social situation where you have no control over the outcomes at all, and you can't do nothing to influence the outcomes by determining what you put out there. And then being out of touch with reality, that is the next thing. That ties into all the other discussions we were having, where you're 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 in a virtual world where everybody doing the same thing you're doing, which is presenting versions of themselves. So it's not about an authenticity, and it's not about the real you. It's about the social media version of you. Basically, it's image management. So when who you are is really your image and not actually you. You don't know how to interact with people in a real way. You only know how to interact with the the, the the virtual versions of people, which is basically a straw man version, not the real person. So whenever you're stuck in real life situations now, you don't know how to talk, you don't know how to socialize, you don't know how to deal with disagreements, you don't know how to handle criticism, you don't even know how to handle compliments, because you never had to deal with them, face to face. Look, if you're just looking at neighborhood now, like, I don't know how all your neighborhoods are, right? But like for me, in my neighborhood, we used to be in the road playing all the time. It had no point where you could have come here in the day, like on a weekend, and don't see five, six children outside playing football on the road, cricket by somebody's house, basketball somewhere, playing pitch. Now, I tell you all, I don't see no children. Children just come out in the yard for like 2 seconds and go back inside. They might ride the little tricycle for 5 minutes and go back in the house. And if they have no more socializing, if they have no more neighborhoods raising children, the cell phone and social media is what the new world is. That is what the social life has become. So they don't actually know how to really socialize. So yeah, it's definitely an oxymoron.
The reason why I would say is oxymoron to me, and listen to me carefully, because I might touch some sensitive topics here. Um, watching certain people interact, right? Like people who want to find a genuine relationship online and thing, it might be hard because just as Jade say with the depression thing, sometimes you may read something and it may actually push you away from talking to physical people because you believe that everybody that you meet could possibly be doing this thing that you see online some way, right? No, I don't know if anybody read my status, but it had one where I posted up with somebody was talking about dogs, right? That actually was attached to a news group that I found on Twitter today, right? And right, yeah. So I see people shaking their like they realize what I'm talking about. No, that post belonged to a certain group of people. I ain't gonna say their name, right? But it was attached to a popular American news broadcasting system, right? And what they was basically saying is that there was checking in medical healthcare of young women, right? I think it's women from 19 to 26, right? In terms of like the pap smear and whatever the case may be, right? And what they were saying is, and this is me as a young man talking to you, and this is where I could relate, possibly relate to other young men who could possibly be reading what I read, right? They said that I think is 10 in every 200 cases of women who got the pap smeared, brace for it, people, they were found with dog sperm in them.
Iran don't remember that now.
No,
Iran,
I serious. I,
Iran don't
I,
remember.
ain't, gonna say- I ain't gonna even say the newspaper. I see it on Twitter today. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's true or not.
But as you think,
Right? I don't know if it's true or not. But so they say that the news people, right, was talking to some medical healthcare professionals, right? And they were saying they didn't say the name of the state either to protect the identities of the people, right? They didn't say which state it was. They just say
Alabama.
there's a certain state in America, right? That the healthcare people, they did an interview with the healthcare people and they released this information, right? Well, obviously, they ain't call no names. But
mm-hmm.
it's just to say with me as a young man, right, who could be possibly reading this thing, right? You go feel a little bit disgusting and you go feel to stay away from everybody after reading something like that. You
Yes,
understand me? So that's why I 100%, probably 110% believe that social media is oxymoron in itself.
mm.
Big
Oh,
man, 10 out of every 200,
10
the
like
out of every
5,
100 is
like 5% of all women sleeping a dog.
this is what they said, the case belonging to that state.
Okay, hey, I need to know what
if
state is
everybody
that
sleeping with a
to
dog.
They
never
didn't
go
say
there
the
in
name
my
of
They
the
life.
state.
don't tell only what state that is,
They
Which
didn't say
tell
the
we
name of
now?
the state.
It's just a state busty shot.
I said Alabama.
Just so.
Oh yes.
Listen, on the internet crazy.
Um, yes, that was a very weird fact that we got there. I would like to erase it from my mind.
We don't know if it's
Right.
a fact, eh?
Factoid
Future
fact,
research.
whatever it was, that piece of research.
Piece of something.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So we have been discussing this social media thing, and
Mm-hmm.
this question there really leading nice into what I'm about to ask. Social media being a oxymoron, and all the answers, how it came into play.
Mm-hmm.
And we know one of the side effects of social media, of course, is this loneliness thing. And you
Mm-hmm.
all genuinely answered that question in everything we said just now. It can cause some loneliness to happen. But my question is, how does it affect you being social as an outside of social media? How does loneliness affect that?
All right, so a lot of people don't know what loneliness actually is because they think being alone is loneliness. And I know Aaron had some definitions first. So yeah, what is loneliness?
Well, I thought you would have taken it away first, right? But according to everybody friend Google here, one common description of loneliness is the feeling we get when our need for reward in social contact and relationship is not met. So what it's basically saying is, right, if you don't have friendships that basically making you feel good about yourself or making you feel like you're needed in a certain situation or situations, is that this is something that may inspire loneliness. Right? So Jay, you can continue.
Right, thanks. So yes, that's loneliness, right? And can it affect being social? In my experience, I know it can affect you in two ways when it comes to you being social. One, um, I know some lonely people where they are so lonely that they will grasp at anybody to be friends with,
Oh God.
right? So yeah, we have dealt with people like that already,
My belly
where
walking
it's
my
like
Jesse thought.
where it's like, all right, I don't care, I just need to be friends with, let's say, Shan, for example. Shan is probably not even a good person, right? But because I am so lonely, I will try, and Shan is interacting with me, I will try my best. I will small Shan to death. I will call Shan phone. I will add Shan on social media. Next time I see Shan in person, she can't get rid of me because I'm very clingy and I want to know everything and I'm telling you everything and my guard is down and I don't care because you know they say in order to be friends, you have to show yourself friendly, right? And part of that
Mhm.
is vulnerability, of course, which is normal. But I offloading all kind of thing on you and yeah, so that is one. And just okay, a quick question, right? Is it just me or could you actually like you could tell when somebody is lonely? Like the loneliness just oozes from their pores. You could tell that.
100 billion%.
Yeah. I was just thinking about it. You see, Krista already said us be asking all kind of question in the middle of my statement and things she was right. But yeah, so that's one. And then well, of course, the other natural thing we'll think about when it comes to loneliness is this person becomes a hermit and they just stay by themselves and they don't want to come out their little corner and they themselves into all sorts of mental states of darkness and self harm.
I I agree with both. I don't have much to add because I actually agree with both of those different sides of the spectrum. For me though, so I describe myself as an introvert, which means I enjoy time by myself. Like literally the best time of my life is literally on my bed, contemplating what kind of thing, going through conversations I had and seeing how to answer better next time, or just a lot of introspect, all kind of thing. Like that's my like I love that. I live for that, right? And so sometimes I wouldn't even notice when I get lonely. Because, okay, I have a great group of friends, and I just be talking to my friends like almost every day. Okay, not almost every day. Um, every day I talking to my friends, but listen, that scripture, it is not good for man to be alone. I think like literally in-person interaction is very different from texting. It's very different from, you know, all these social, voice noting and all these things, even though those are my preferred um mediums. Um, it's very different. And what's interesting is that I okay, so there was this experience that Jade and I both had where there was a kitten, okay? And there was a kitten involved. So she found like a lost kitten and it was, dying. It died. But Up, don't cry. Just don't. Dude, but anyway, upon finding this kitten and, nurturing this kitten and blah, blah, blah with this kitten, I sat down and I realized, I think we both realized in that time, dude, we kind of lonely. Like, at the time, Jade was home by herself and I was home by myself. And like through this interaction with this cat, and wanting to keep this cat and nurture this cat and just have it as a pet. Like, dude, we had a whole plan. We don't talk about bag, how much food is for the cat, how much water, all kind of thing. We talk about nutrients, all kind of thing, planning a life for this cat. And we realized that, dude, we were lonely. But if we hadn't really had that interaction, would we have discovered that we were lonely? I don't think we would have. So I mean, that's all I have to add. I don't have anything else to add.
I'll prefer the two of you because that is the saddest story I hear for the long. I swear, I don't even know how to speak in to describe how sad that cat story is. But we
But
gonna let
we
that
had
go.
to be there.
That terribly
Exactly.
sad was. Aaron boy,
That the
you
cat
saved this
died,
girl
right?
life. You saved this girl life, boy, my brother. It's Crystal or your turn go come.
I mean,
Um,
I wasn't worried, but
and in the meantime, get a dog, right? Um, Loneliness, how does it affect being social? Well, I think that's a big question. I mean, that's a question that we could go many different directions with. First, beyond the generic description, we have to have an idea how loneliness has come about because loneliness is a closely linked thing with mental illness. It's not one and the same, but it's definitely closely linked because you could easily go through a cycle where you're feeling lonely will damage your mental health, and then your mental health will now bring you will make you lonely, and it's just you're in a loop. You know what I mean? Because things like losing a family member, or going through a relationship breakup, changing jobs, changing schools, changing your environment, all them different things could make you experience loneliness, and then lead to you know mental health issues that will make it worse. And the issues now, when you experience loneliness, is create a vacuum because loneliness is often be a result of losing something. Nobody start off lonely. So usually something had to take place in your life here to start experiencing this feeling, this sense of loneliness. And when you have a vacuum, what does happen? As soon as you let air back in, is rush to fill the void. So that is why, like Jade was saying, people is run towards situations to help them to help comfort them or to help address the feelings of loneliness. So that is something to take into consideration too. So yeah, I agree. It definitely affects being social, and for a lot of people, is make them hyper social because they want by any means necessary, they want to stop feeling lonely. And very often the decisions that can be made in them situations will be destructive. It's not going to be the wisest choices because the idea is not to make a wise choice. The idea is to stop feeling lonely. You know what I mean?
Right. So after doing some research, loneliness can affect us in three different ways: elevated level of stress, depression, and anxiety. Three things that can obviously negatively affect how we interact with others. And I'm sure you all, of course, well, you all know how it is to interact with somebody who is depressed. Very sickening. Yes, yes, depressed people can be quite sickening sometimes.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yes, it can definitely affect how, like, it can definitely affect you socially. People who have friends, they're not lonely, they're in a relationship, whatever. They tend to be more a good relationship. They tend to be more jolly, and you can have good conversations with them or whatever. But like when they're lonely, you just know people are lonely too. Eh? They just are kind of weird. Some of them. So yeah.
Yeah, Shan. So I just wanted to say something before you before you continue, right? All right. So I am glad that Krista brought up the story about the cat and such because it made me realize something, right? Um. So even though you have a significant other, because I mean it's clear that Emerson thought what he thought. However, even if you have a significant other, right, there will still be, and I don't know who could probably attest to this if this was ever you at some point, but there will still be some times where it's like you don't even know, as Krista said, you don't even know that you're lonely because I love to be by myself.
The best.
I absolutely love it. I am introvert queen, right? And at that time, well, the whole COVID thing, whatever, whatever, you're living by yourself, you're far away from family, etc. But you're with this person and you are telling yourself, well, this is all I need because one, I like to be by myself, and when I'm not by myself, I like to be by you. So, I mean, I'm in heaven right now. Until, of course, that cat came, and then I was like, wait, hold up. This cat making me realize that probably I don't like to be by myself as much as I thought I like to be by myself. Maybe I actually was missing some sort of interaction with living things while Aaron is at work. You
And
understand?
Jade, catch this, I'm afraid to cut you off, but catch this. You realize before COVID, almost every day I was in your house
Oh
when
yeah.
Aaron was at work.
Oh
So we had
yes.
that social interaction. And then I
True.
would come home, and you understand. And then when I'd come home, I'd get my alone time. But then COVID hit, all you move, and then it's like, oh wait, I'm all like whole day I'm alone,
Yeah,
whole
exactly.
day.
And then you're telling yourself, oh my gosh, that is because you love to be by yourself. So you're telling yourself, okay, this not affecting me in any sort of way. I actually really love this. And then something comes along and then it's like, wait, do I really love this? Or
Mm-hmm.
am I missing some sort of interaction? So that is sometimes we wouldn't, and I think that is very important to address because sometimes we will not even realize
Mm-hmm.
that we are lonely because loneliness could creep up and you don't even know. I don't think that people who are in deep lonely situations got there overnight. It was not an overnight thing, right? And that is what we need to understand. I believe it was a progression where it's like probably, and as much as introverts love to be alone, as I gave the example before, sometimes we wouldn't even know that we're lonely until it's, something that triggers that. So I think it is important where, even though, where we have to acknowledge that it is not good for man to be alone.
Yeah.
We have to acknowledge that. And we have to also try as introverts, try to not get into this bubble where you do not crave interaction
Yeah.
at all. Because I think I was in that space where I was like, okay, don't speak to me. I just want to be in this room by myself. My neighbors don't even know what I look like, and you're telling yourself that's a good thing, and then, well, you realize it probably isn't. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say before Shanna asks her next question.
But before that, I want to answer my own question.
Mm.
So, I like what Jade was saying, how sometimes people don't even realize that they are lonely. I think I was the opposite. I was in a relationship, yet I was lonely. It don't make sense, right? But it was happening. So I'm in this relationship and I'm lonely, and I'm thinking to myself, how is this? The person is right there. How do I feel like this? And because like something was missing, I wasn't feeling something, I wasn't seeing something, something wasn't happening. And it just caused me to feel lonely. And that was actually affecting everything because I am feeling lonely. And if you come to sit down next to me, I don't want to talk to you. If you call my phone, I don't want to answer. I don't want to send back a message if you send one because I feel lonely. You there, but I feel lonely. I don't even want to interact with you right now. And that was actually not a good thing because I could have communicated and said, something is missing, it don't have a connection somewhere, and I feel like this. But in your lonely state, you're not going to say that. You rather sit and wallow in your loneliness and just be like, I just don't feel like it. Maybe eventually I'll feel like it again. I just don't feel like it right now. And that is actually could affect being social. But yeah, my next question now is how
Hang on,
actually
hang
does
on, hang on. Before you ask your question, I just quick. You was a cat lady too. I just ask you.
no.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Next question.
Anyhow, um, how does loneliness, and Emerson started to touch on it, how does it affect your mental health? Loneliness. Christopher, please. I have a question here.
Chris,
No,
you
that
go
is
first.
You
no,
want
no, Aaron, take it away. Cause I need to compress. Like, let me just.
All right. I think this is just what I think. I think that after prolonged periods of being alone, it actually leaded to being depressed, right? Because the reason why I say that is because sometimes you would be alone, then your mind goes start to wander all over the place. Then you will start to think about negative things all the time, right? And then an overwhelm of negative feelings might come over you, and then one thing might lead to another, and then boom, depression hit you, right? Where you're feeling like nothing really matters, nothing could make you happy, nothing could take you out of that state, and you're just there and you're just mopey and you're gray, and it just awful. It's just an awful feeling that could take from one thing to a whole other extreme thing to me. That's all I had to say.
Hmm.
Well, I ain't too sure if it's me or who to talk, so I guess I'll
What?
just say something. Um, yes, loneliness definitely affects your mental health significantly, especially if it lasts a long period of time. Because it have loneliness as a natural thing for people to feel because it's a regular human emotion. It's not a mental health issue. Everybody could experience that from time to time without it actually affecting their mental health long term. But when it prolongs, then it's likely to affect your mental health. And popular research suggests that loneliness over extended period of time does increase your risk of common mental health problems like depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, sleep problems, and stress. So, yes, it significantly affects your mental health. And for the most part, I think the vast majority of people at one point or the other will experience one or more of those elements of loneliness during the course of their lives, especially now in this age and in this generation where mental health issues have never been more common. But that is a whole next topic, I think.
I I agree with everything that's been said. I think, and listen, I keep trying to find some way to compress this, and because I don't want to give a whole life story. But my mind keep jumping to different points in my life where I know I was actually very lonely. Um, it came from, well, I think it came from the fact that I felt as though I wasn't really being seen. Like, even though I had or thought I had relationships that were nice or whatever, the quality of those relationships were kind of crap. And there was a lot of not being seen in there. And I think I'm really trying not to draw from experience. Oh, okay. Let me just give one, right? So COVID-19 hit, and as you know, everybody knows you're quarantining and everything. And there was a moment when JD was still in Trinity, I believe, and I can't remember. Oops, sorry, I
I'm
forget. My
joking,
bad.
I'm joking, I'm joking.
But yeah, you were still there, and so we were close. We were close enough, but we weren't really seeing each other. And I had gotten so accustomed to having social interaction. So just a quick brief for before 2018, I would go to school, I would go wherever, and not really interact. I was that nerd with the tablet and in the corner. That was me. I wasn't talking to anybody. I wasn't like connecting or anything. And then 2018 hit, and I just was exposed to connection and talkers too. Jade is a talker. um, Talkers. And so there was a lot. I just was overwhelmed. Well, not overwhelmed, but I loved it. I enjoyed it. Of interaction, and I grew a lot. And then COVID-19 hit, and then there was like an abrupt stop to that. And in addition to me being an introvert, I didn't. Well, this one I actually acknowledged. Like I realized, okay, I was feeling a certain way. Um, and Jade, she real helped me out. She said, "Girl, like let's put on our masks. Then we take we sanitize and whatever, and let's just go." She took us to a different location, and yes, we were being productive. We were doing other things, but we had one of the best conversations I ever had. And she literally she just gave me scripture, right? And so and his scripture really did help. Like I didn't even notice how much of like that's the food I needed basically. That's the food I needed to mend whatever was going on. I didn't know how deep it was until she hit me with scripture, and I was like, whoa, like this is deep. Like everything you guys were talking about, everything I experienced. And I am just so grateful, right? Like a testimony right now. I'm just so grateful to have friends that would pull you out of it. Like you could imagine not having good quality friendship, but friends who wouldn't be like, hey, need to snap you out of this. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, andale, andale, come on, get out of this. You could imagine I could have been stuck in that and gone and could have gone through another bout, because this would have been, I think, my second or third bout of depression, like actual depression, right? And so I just wanted to share that testimony because I literally have nothing else to add. I agree with both what Aaron and Emerson said.
Yeah, and you see, I know that. Okay, so Emerson thought that the cat story was funny and all these different things, right? But because I know you personally, and I know what you have been through, I mean, it ain't gonna be that kiki kaka for me, right? Because I know what you have been through, and this is my thing as well, right? It doesn't matter what it is that is taking you out of that frame of mind. Once
Mm-hmm.
it is a good thing, right? Once it is moral, let it take you out of that frame of mind. Because I think one of Shan's questions is what advice, right, Shan? What advice could we give to people in that situation? And my thing is, whatever it takes to get you out of that, you do it, right? If it is painting, you do paint. If it is buying 10,000 cats and 86 dogs, you do it, right? And no, for real, because we tend to laugh at
Cat ladies
certain
and dog
things. Well,
ladies.
yeah, people who run to the animals for comfort, but that's what God made them for in the first place, right? We can't deny that. And so, whatever it takes to get you out of that situation, you do it. It does not matter if this one find it weird, or that one find it funny, or this one find it this or that. That have nothing to do with anybody. You just do what you have to do. So I know, Krista, your testimony is not a light one, right? And I'm
It's
very thankful that you were able to openly share that with us, because your story will be helping somebody. You understand? Your testimony will help somebody. If it is scripture, go in the Bible and talk to God, cry out to God and say, God, I feel in this kind of way and I don't know what to do. Because there is absolutely no shame. There's a stigma around loneliness and
yes.
lonely people, and they're so pathetic, and I don't know why, and thing, and whatever. It have no stigma. Erase the stigma in your mind.
Yes.
Erase the stigma in your mind. If this is how you feeling, the first step to getting over it is acknowledging, hey, this is how I feel,
Yes.
right? Even Sean's story about being in a relationship and yet feeling lonely. My story of not even realizing that I was becoming a recluse. You understand? All those different things that could help somebody. And so I am really touched by your stories, and I am really grateful that you all were brave enough and able to share that, right? So to whoever is feeling lonely out there, exactly as Susan Hippolyte said, it is not good for man to be alone. And your interaction may not be from a human being. You understand what I'm saying? It could be a
Yes.
goldfish. Just once you are getting out there and you putting yourself out there, go to therapy, seek God, talk to somebody, please. Because loneliness could lead to suicide and
Yes.
as you all said, depression and all these different things. So I know we could be making jokes and thing about, how funny it is, whatever. But to some people, it is not funny. Let me just say that. To some
No,
people, it is
agree.
funny,
Agree.
right? And
Agree.
to some people, this is what they need to do in order to get to a better head space.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's all I have to say.
Who next? Me? Okay. So this is how I feel about it. If I had to give advice to somebody who going through loneliness, depression, anything along them lines, I would say you need community. Because if we had to be honest, we really not on this earth to be able to be lone rangers. We're not on this earth to be able to accomplish things alone and to be and even to be okay alone. We need a community around us. And as difficult as it might feel to try to reach out to people, anybody who experiencing severe loneliness should make the extra effort to have, to be a part of a community. Because the ABCs of community is accountability, belonging, and care. So accountability meaning when you reach out to people and you tell them what's going on in your life, they wouldn't allow you to just walk down a destructive path without pulling up your socks. And loneliness is something that is put you in a situation where it's very easy for you to make destructive choices just to feel better. And then that sense of belonging that you could reach out and it has somebody within your reach to talk to that could help you. It have people who care about you that could do things to help you feel better about life. And even if we could reference some of the things you would say, like Hebrews 10:24 and on say, and let us consider how we may spur one another on towards love and good deeds, not giving up on meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. And then Galatians 6:2 says, carry each other's burdens. And in this way, you'll fulfill the law of Christ. And we know the law of Christ really is loving one another as he loved us, right? So to
Mm-hmm.
me, that is in the spirit of how you should handle situations where people need each other. If I mean, the Bible saying it's so important to carry each other's burdens that if you just do that alone, you'll fulfill the entire law of Christ just by helping carry each other's burdens. So, if somebody's lonely, you've put yourself in position to get under that burden and help them carry it. And as the person that's experiencing that, open up yourself to others who could get in your life and help you to feel a sense of belonging, to help you to feel that people care about you and to help to hold you accountable. So that would be my advice.
Well, Emerson touched on plenty things I was going to talk about, but the two main things that I would recommend is exercise and my favorite thing personally, music.
Mm.
Right? I just listen to real music, and I just get vexed when people come to talk to me when I have headphones in my ears, but that is the next story, right? But I would heavily recommend exercise and I would recommend music but listen to something that would pull you out of the state you're feeling, though. That is what I would recommend you to do. Though, because you're feeling sad, go and throw on a little Tyrese or a little something to listen to make you feel even worse. You understand? Listen
Yes.
to some listen to some kind of soca or something, you understand? Something that go pull you out, something that go hype you up a little bit that will make you feel like going out and talking to somebody and that kind of thing. With the exercise part though, you just really and honestly get a relief when you work out and you basically put your energy to try and make your body look as best as you could get it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because when the Tata study I was going to talk about, I don't remember the actual words that they were saying. So I want to paraphrase to make it feel like the people and them was lying. But basically, they recommend exercise because when you feel good about what you do, mentally it does well. Your physical does affect your mental,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that when your physical affect your mental, you'll feel more better to do certain things and to talk to people about certain things. Oh, and one more thing I'll recommend too is reading. I like to read. Yeah, funny coming from somebody like me, especially for
No,
the hear what I'm talking real. I really like to read, to be real honest with all you. And reading
I
does,
don't doubt it.
does help out a lot when it comes to the loneliness thing.
Is how I taking your advice right now. Like I actually started reading.
Yeah, just use rocks. So I don't know if anybody else see this one, but I would the advice I'll give somebody who lonely as I would try to urge them to make new friends and go out more. And I would even invite them to go out if there's anything,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So yeah, I would just and then if they don't really know where to start, I will tell them where to start, what to do to make friends, and I'll tell them that it is not hard. I'll just try to make them feel comfortable doing it. Yeah.
You should have talked to me, yes, because I find it hard.
Mhm.
Maybe to make genuine ones.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's just address these comments unless Shan had something to say.
I never give my advice though, so they don't want my advice at all.
Yes,
Well,
sweetheart,
all
we
right,
want
now
your
go, you go last somebody here. Give
eh?
your advice.
Jumping through that screen to it with some bellows.
No one to into.
my advice, let me talk. Anyway,
Ah, lie, don't make no man.
my advice that I would give to somebody who's lonely is to go through it. Listen to my
Mm.
words carefully. I'm not saying stay in it. I'm saying go through it. Whatever
I
you
like
need to
that.
do, go through it. When you start to feel depressed, go through the depression. If you need to cry, cry through the tears. You understand? Do that. And don't let people make you think that therapy is a bad word. Therapy is not a bad word. Being a therapist is not a bad profession. Nothing is wrong with you if you need to talk to someone outside of your circle of people because them could be the same ones who making you feel like how you're feeling in the first place. If you need to talk to someone, go and do that if that is what you need to do. If you don't know that you are lonely and someone says or gives you some kind of hint that this is what it is, don't just brush it off. You're going to go do some research, read about it, ask a question. How would I know? How would this happen? And take some advice from somebody. Go through the depression and come out on the other side. That would be my advice.
I
This
like
is
So
that.
excellent advice.
before we move on, I just want to add one relatively short addendum to this. One last piece of advice that we didn't touch on at all for people who might be experiencing loneliness is, in the spirit of this show, it would be remiss of me not to suggest that you consider a relationship with Christ. And I want to give the viewers, present and future, 4 short reasons to take that into consideration. Why they should do that. Deuteronomy 31:6 says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you, and he will never leave you or forsake you." See that little piece in the end there? Never leave you or forsake you, despite what you might be going through. You can't be lonely if you believe in your heart that you have somebody who have your back, who will literally never leave you or forsake you at no point. Romans 8:37 says, "Knowing all these things, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord." Just consider that. Consider that anything you could humanly imagine cannot take you away from God who loves you and want to be there for you and help you through anything you might be experiencing in your life. Even when all the other suggestions that we make that are all excellent suggestions not working out for you. That is the ultimate suggestion. Luke 18 says, "For he has sent me to heal the brokenhearted." That is not the entire verse, but that is the part of the verse. That is the first thing that Christ said he come here to do. Beside all the rest of fancy things that he come and he accomplished and all the miracles and all them other stuff, his first point of notice that to pay attention to was to heal the brokenhearted. So that is to show how important people who suffering from things like that, who have a broken heart, who lonely, how important that is to God. Proverbs 18:24 says, A man that has friends must show himself friendly, but there's a friend that sticketh closer than a brother." So that is, and Proverbs they're referring to God. He's saying that God will stick so close to you, he'll be closer than a brother. So I would advise anybody who listening to consider, if you already have a relationship, to try to deepen your relationship with Christ. And if you don't have one, consider having one, because that is the level to which he will have your back.
Yeah, that's true. So, but yes, let's address some of these comments here. So, right, Suzanne Hippolyte said a neighbor close by is closer than a brother far
Far
away.
away.
I think she means better. Um, Great ideas and inventions were birthed from companionship. As a result to loneliness, case in point, Sunrise Beauty. Big up Sunrise Beauty.
Whoop
I am
whoop.
sponsoring this video, but I not saying.
I know, I
Big
know.
up
Small
Sunrise
thing, small
Beauty.
thing.
Crystal, large up your entire self. Um, there, there are more persons out there on the autism spectrum than we believe. They find it hard to interact socially, even though they are lonely. That is true. So, all those things we need to take into consideration. So, if we have nothing left to speak about concerning social media or loneliness,
I think we good.
we good, right?
I think we good.
No, we have one more thing. One more thing.
Okay.
If all you're lonely, one of the next there's an important suggestion we didn't think, but all you could just tune in to hear this now every other Friday. And that'll go a long way. Believe me, that'll go a long way into helping solve that problem for you. I sure
Yes, it will.
everybody else here.
The best medicine aside from the
Yeah,
Bible.
after the Bible is here this now.
Yeah.
True, 'cause as you can see, we really like to talk and think. So, and we acknowledge your input.
Yes, we do.
So, right, that is it for our show.
Woo!
We thank you all so much for viewing. You all can check out our other episodes. I believe they are in the description box. And, well, they're going to be in the description box. And like this video, like, comment, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Share this video all over your whole social media.
Yes.
And tell your friends about us, spread the word, come back to your phone, your tablet, your laptop, like it immediately. And once again, we thank you all for viewing and for interacting as usual. We love our very interactive audience. And we just wish you all a very blessed rest of your weekend. All right, guys. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.